Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of our request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Wouldn't Pay. Back in the 70s I worked at a small fabrication shop. I wore a lot of hats. Billing, accounts receivable and helping coordinate with our machine shop. One of our biggest clients was a large company that made a specialty truck product. They ordered parts from us, which meant we had to build the dies, run the machines and ship the parts to them. The problem was they were constantly changing the design. The contract clearly stated that they had to pay for any cost increases. Usually it was just a few cents more per part, maybe from 35 cents to 38. They'd agreed verbally, we'd make the new parts, but then their accounting department would reject the invoices. The contract says 35, not 38 cents. I'd explain, again and again, that they'd changed the part, so the price changed. They refused to budge. Finally, I'd had enough. I told the plant to stop making the parts they wouldn't pay for. They ran on a just-in-time inventory system, which meant they had no backstock. So when we stopped shipping, they had nothing. A few days later, they were on the phone in a full-blown panic. Where are the parts? Well, we said, you refused to pay, so we refused to ship. We went back and forth for a few days. Then, suddenly, a check arrived, and every change order was approved. The downtime that week cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. The extra cost they'd been refusing to pay was about $250 total. When the contract expired, they found another machine shop. But then they demanded we send them the dies we'd built. Those dies had cost them a fortune. And when they balked at paying, we refused to ship them too. More downtime. You'd think they learned their lesson. Instead, they went right back to pulling the same stunt with the new shop. The next story is called Complaints. I had my property manager in Western Australia show up at my house completely unannounced, asking questions about an unregistered car on the property. 2 hours later, a council ranger turned up. He said there had been complaints about the car and that he was going to issue a removal notice. I just laughed and said, funny thing, that complaint came from my property manager. She was here 2 hours ago, grilling me about the same car. He gave me this look, like something had just clicked, then stared at the car, then at the other car sitting in my driveway. Is that one registered? He asked. Yes. Perfect. Swap the cars around so the registered one's on the verge. Then it can legally sit there for 2 years before anyone can touch it. With that he smiled, wished me a good day and left. The best part? In Western Australia, it's actually an offense for a property manager to just turn up at a tenant's house unannounced. Because she did exactly that, I was able to lodge a breach against the agency. They were fined $10,000 for disturbing my peace and violating privacy. So not only did the ranger help me dodge their little scheme, but the agency ended up getting slammed for their own mistake. The third story is called More Pepper. Years ago, I worked mostly retail, with a bit of retail food service mixed in. One of those jobs was at a quick check. Gas, subs, snacks and some hot food. I did a little of everything there, including working in the food section, which I hated. Most of it was reheated, low-grade stuff. And while some customers were fine, others got ridiculously picky. One regular came in almost every morning for the same order. A poppy seed bagel, buttered, with multiple rounds of bacon stacked high, and extra black pepper. My coworker usually made it for him, and he was always satisfied. When I followed her method exactly though, he'd complained every single time. My bacon isn't crispy enough. There isn't enough bacon. This isn't toasted enough. This is toasted too dark. And his favorite? There isn't enough black pepper. Didn't matter how closely I copied my coworker or how good it looked. He always found something to whine about. Eventually, my coworkers admitted they stopped making his sandwich altogether because he did the same thing to them. One morning, before I even started, he preemptively complained, "Make sure you put enough black pepper this time." Alright, fine. Challenge accepted. I buried that bagel in pepper. Absolutely smothered it until the inside was darker than the poppy seed crust. Then I handed it to him with a smile. Here you go. A few minutes later he shuffled back, quieter this time. That's about as much black pepper as one could tolerate. I just looked at him and asked, "So, not enough still?" He grumbled, it was too much. After that he still came in almost every day for that same gross sandwich. But he definitely tried to time his orders for when I wasn't behind the counter. The last story is called Delivery Compliance. I deliver packages for Amazon Flex. One morning I had a delivery scheduled for a business. Unlike most business deliveries, this one was marked "No recipient required", meaning I didn't need a signature. Easy enough. But then I noticed the business's own instructions. Do not leave packages unattended under any circumstances. Very firm about it. Here's the problem. My route had me there at 7 AM. The business didn't even open until 11, well past the end of my delivery block. No way to hand it off to anyone. So I drove back to the Amazon station and returned the package. Annoying, since it meant an extra trip, but also kind of satisfying. Their strict demands meant they weren't getting their package that day at all. A little petty, sure, but in its own way it felt like justice. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.